welcome. It's Louie and Pygate. It is morning and it is in my kitchen. And it is time to start some food. So I'm going to start with my wild rice casserole recipe. And it is not actually anything that has any wild rice in it. It just has white rice. I do not know why it is called wild rice, but it has been called that. So basically what this is beef flavored rice with some like add-ins. This is some of the best rice you'll ever have if you want to try this. So I'm going to use 3/4 of a stick of butter, which is 6 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to save those tablespoons for the squash. So I'm going to take this butter and I'm going to cut it in pieces into like just chunks, like probably tablespoon size chunks. You can do whatever you want. And I'm just going to lay this in this casserole dish. On the bottom of the dish. So you don't actually have to, really butter the dish because you're just putting butter straight in it. So there you go. Then I'm going to add, I think I'm going to go ahead and add the rice. And you're going to use a cup of uncooked rice, white rice. Alright, so let me find my cup measure. My recipe is sliding here. Hold on. Here's my cup measure. It's got some flour in it. Let me clean it. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to take and measure my white rice, dried, uncooked white rice, and then I'm just going to sprinkle this in the bottom of the dish, like that. Then we are going to add some ingredients, and we are going to add, let's see what you want to do first. Let's do the onion. So you're going to add, it says to add 1 onion. Well, these are really, really small onions. So I'm probably going to do a couple of these little ones. So like, a medium onion. Amounts of onion don't matter a whole lot. So add as much as you want. This really adds, I think, a lot of moisture to this, because you need some extra moisture for that rice. So let me cut through that. That doesn't want to peel for me. There we go. This little onion does not want to peel. Don't usually have this much of a fight to peel the onion. This like got the toughest skin on it. There we go. Just trying to get this off. Well, I got a couple layers of it off. You ever have this much trouble peeling an onion? Good grief. I know. Today we have resistance. Goodness, it's just like peeling an egg hard to peel. It's gonna peel in little minute pieces at a time. We're gonna be here all day, and I do not have all day because lunchtime is upon us. Oh, here's that piece. Almost there it is. That piece came loose. Let me cut it at the bottom. Let's see if I can get it set free or something here. Come on now. Look at that. I have never had this much of an issue with peeling an onion. It usually comes right off. Oh my goodness. I think I'm just going to take off the top layer of onion here in a minute, because there we go. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. Take off the top layer of onion, because then I can get that peeling off. Alright, there's one. Okay. So let's get these little pieces of peel off of here. Such a fight just to peel a little tiny onion. So you don't usually have that issue. Now I leave these pieces pretty big. You don't have to make it too tiny. Well, you can make it whatever size you want. If you think people in your family won't eat it, if you have a family, if you're lucky enough to have a family, if you think they won't eat it, if it's big, then make it little. You just cut it, chop it however you want. Okay. Doesn't have to be any certain size or even really the same. Try to make it somewhat the same. There we go. Alright, so there's one little onion. So I'm just going to like spread that around in there. I am going to turn this vent on real quick so take some of these fumes. These are stronger little onions. These are not sweet onions. I prefer the sweet onions, but these were free. Somebody gave me these onions. They're just little white onions, and they're stronger than the Vidalia onions, but they're good onions. They just got a stronger fume to them. And this one's peeling a little easier. Thank goodness. Peel it over here by the vent. Surprisingly, that vent helps quite a bit. Pulls the air, fumes, away from the onion. Okay, there we go. Now, these onions too, they make my eyes water more than the Vidalia ones do. Onions are supposed to be really good for you. They add so much flavor too. Okay, here we go. And I'm actually going to be cutting more for the squash. Maybe I should just go ahead and finish chopping all the onions first. No, I don't want to do that because I need to get this in the oven. Need to get it on in the oven because it does take about 45 minutes or so to cook. Sometimes it takes longer. Okay. Get it kind of all chopped up here. Alright, so then I'm going to add all that in. So what is that, like half a cup of onion, you know, medium onion. Okay, so there we go. Let me get some of that onion off my hands. Okay. Seriously, that's a strong onion. Alright, now, then we're going to add a green pepper. Here's our green pepper. This has already been washed because I just did it. Go ahead and try to take off the good part here. So you're going to add a chopped green pepper. You can leave this out if you want to, if you don't like green pepper. This also calls for a small can of mushrooms, drained, and I don't like mushrooms. And really, we don't much like the mushrooms, so I do leave out the mushrooms. Let me go rinse some of these little seeds off of this. So many little seeds in there. Look at that. Too many seeds. There we go. And let's chop some of this up. And this can be left. You know, it doesn't have to be real fine because it's bite size. However size you want it. This also adds real great flavor, but it also adds some more moisture. So here we are, just dumping this in this casserole. My eyes, hold on a second here. My eyes are just pouring tears from that onion. I can't see. Ugh. There we go. Woo, it's going to clear up my sinuses like completely here. Those onions, I'm really like at the very bottom of that little batch of onions. I don't really want those onions again. Like I said, I love that they were free, and they were good little onions, but boy, they're strong. Alright, so now let's cut us some rings here. However you want to cut it. Trying to find, you know, the most efficient way to zip through this here. This probably is not it. That's okay. Add it to our casserole over here. These pieces are a little big. Chop that up a little better. But this, to me, is like one of the best. Here, let's do it this way. Casseroles. This is one of our family specials. We have had this in my dad's family for years and years. And at almost every holiday we would have, somebody would make this dish. My Aunt Vivi did this for a long time. And then I think she got to where she would wanted to make some other stuff, so she passed it on to somebody else, and somebody else would make it, but we always had it. Somebody somewhere would always make this. Every house. So this is like a holiday dish in our family, but it's definitely good for every day. So there you go. And it's so easy. And you just have a coating here of that. Okay, so then you can, and this is just kind of the order I do it. Now, if you're going to add the can of mushrooms, the small can of mushrooms, open them up, drain off the liquid, and then put the mushrooms on top too. And that also adds some, moisture and stuff to it. So then, you are going to take 2 cans of soup, French onion, the condensed soup, and beef broth. Now, you want this one. You want the concentrated beef broth. You don't want the, thinner. You want the one you want the concentrated Campbell's soup, beef broth. And then I'm going to try to get this open here. This one has a pop top and the other one does not. Okay, so then you're just going to take this soup. This is the French onion soup. And you're just going to, and yes, this gives you some more onions. You're going to pour that on top. You're not going to add water and dilute this. You're going to use it full strength. This one has to be opened with my can opener. Hold on, I got to plug my can opener back in. I unplugged it to plug in my phone. And there we go. Alright, so there you have the concentrated beef broth. So this is going to give it so much flavor. And then you're just going to dump that in on top. Now that gives you your liquid that's going to, the rice is going to cook in. And that rice, as you know, is on the bottom. So you have your oven at 425. Then, yep, it's just going to look like this, a big soupiness. And my oven the oven temperature light just went off. So it is vitally important that you cover it with a lid. If you don't have a lid, use foil. But you must cover it so your rice will cook and steam. Then you're going to put it in here for 45 minutes and then check to see that your rice is done. If it is crunchy, it's not done. So 45 minutes. That's why you kind of want the rice on the bottom and all that liquid on top so the rice won't dry out. Because sometimes the rice dries out a little bit if it's on top. So there we go. That's it. That is it. So now I'm going to make my vegetable mix. So let's actually put that over here. So I'm going to turn on my burner, and I'm going to add some butter. I may need more than this. This is just a couple tablespoons because that's what I had left of that stick. So I'm going to melt the butter in the pan. Any amount of butter you want. Then I'm going to add some more. I'm going to cut some more onions. Hopefully I won't cry anymore. So I normally do not have this problem. These onions, goodness, peel. I don't normally have this problem, but with these little ones, I sure do. It normally doesn't affect my eyes. Okay, here we go. So we're going to cut the top off of this one. I'm going to use a couple of these. And I love onions in squash. It really adds so much flavor to the squash. And sometimes I get tired of just plain squash and want to, doll it up a little bit. So I'm going to add some zucchini and carrots. And if you've ever had zucchini, carrot, and squash together, it is really good. The carrots add a sweetness to it. And then the zucchini. Oh, good morning, Cindy. How are you doing? The zucchini adds a lot of color, plus it adds you a little bit of green vegetable in there. And it's so pretty together. First time I ever had carrot, zucchini, and squash together, it was some julienne vegetables, I think at the Veranda restaurant here in town. It's one of our fancier restaurants. It's been here forever. It's a couple of old Victorian homes. If you want to see the excitement, I'm peeling the onion. It's like I said, a fancier restaurant, and I had a dinner, it was probably 30 years ago. I had a dinner there one night, and they served julienne vegetables, squash, zucchini, and carrots. And I'm like, oh, that will really good together. Now, I don't julienne them. That's cutting them, you know, like really thin matchsticks. Look how this resists this. I don't cut it like that, although I guess I could if you had something to cut it with. But I just, you know, it tastes the same. Just mix the three together. All right. Hold on. Let me get this. Cut it again over here. I don't know why this onion peeling is being an issue. Here we go. We're going to peel the whole layer. I'm done with this fight. It just has to do with this type of onion, I guess. Because, yeah, normal. Even these little ones weren't doing this before. And I have my oven vent on, because that takes away some of these fumes. Okay, I'm spreading the butter all over my pan here. I'm going to chop these up. You can make these big or small, whatever you want. Still got a little peeling on there. Just as long as you get some in there for the flavor. So, if you have a family and they don't like onions, you can do a couple of things. One, make them so teeny tiny that they can't see them. Or, make them really, really big, like a big old piece of onion, that they can easily avoid it. And that way you still get the flavor in there. And either they don't even know it's there, or they can just eat around it because it's easy to see. So I'm going to add that here to our pan. I usually add the onion first so it can start sauteing and get that nice flavor in there. Okay, here we go. Then I usually add the carrots next because they're the harder vegetable. And I want them to cook the longest. There is a piece of peeling right there. Now we're sizzling. Okay. Let's chop some more of this up a little. There we go. Alright. Now that's a pretty good amount of onion there. I still see some onion peel in here. This onion peel is the cleanest stuff. Let's get that out of the pan. Hold on. There we go. Put that in my little trash bag over here. Okay, so let's get our little spatula here. If you cook it in butter, it gives it the best taste. Okay, so there we go. So now let's do some carrots, and you can do whatever you want as far as like how many you want. Hope you're doing good. Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you. So I'm going to peel the carrots. And I don't know, I'll put 2 or 3 in there. I've got to find my peeler. Hold on. It's here on my drain board. Okay. I'm going to peel my carrot. It's not making it in the bag at all, but that's okay. A lot of times I do this in a bowl. I really love carrots added to squash. See, it really makes it good. So let's get another one. I say it makes it a little sweeter. These carrots are sweet. And it really makes a pretty dish of vegetables because you got green and orange and yellow. It's like all the colors are so pretty together. Alright, so let's try a couple of them and see where we get with that. Okay, let me check my onions here. Sure we're not. I don't really want to brown them, you know. I just want to make sure they're sauteing. Okay, so let's start and cut this carrot. I like to cut off the... Uh-oh. There it went. Let me go wash it. I'm too close to the edge of the counter, I guess. Let's see if we can't fix that. Thing's in my way. There you go. Alright, so then I like to cut it in an angle, but you don't have to. It just exposes more of the surface of the carrot, but kind of doesn't really matter. There you want to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of them in there. Get that started. Give me, well, this is just such a small cutting board. It gives me more room. Carrots are tough. You cut that end off. Okay, there we go. And let's do another one. Stuff is just shooting across the room here. Okay, here we go. You can cut it in little rounds if you'd rather. This just kind of gives you a bigger piece. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Looks fancy. Requires like no effort though. Ooh, come on. This is tough carrot. There we go. Both of them were. All right, let's see how we're doing. I think we need another one, maybe. That's not a whole lot of carrot. Let's do one more. Okay, so we're going to peel it. Still doing everything with this brace and this glove on. It's making me a little klutzy, but oh well, I can still do it. Okay, here we go. Cut off the ends. Watch it shoot across the counter, because that's what it's doing. And then go in at my angle here. This knife, I just sharpened it, but it didn't want to cut very well. I think it's just because the carrot is tough. We are really, those onions are really cooked. I turned it way down. One more. There we go. All right. I stir that in. Whoops. Well, some more just shot out across the room here. I lost an onion underneath the burner. Get that out of there, or I'll forget it's there, and then we'll set the thing on fire later. Alright, let me throw that away. In my little bag. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to add in some zucchini. This is like the most gigantic zucchini I've seen. So huge. Usually you only need one zucchini unless you really want a lot of zucchini. I find zucchini a little bit more bitter than squash. And I like it mixed in, but I don't really like zucchini by itself. So I'm going to cut this one. It's so big. I'm going to cut it in half. I'll just do halves. Part of the problem here is my camera's in the way. There we go. So I'm just going to cut these little, you could just keep it completely round if you want. I kind of cut, you know, like that. You can do it real thin if you'd rather. This keeps a little bit of the firmness and crispness in it, if you like that. If you want it all completely soft, either cook it longer or cut it thinner. It's just less cutting this way. But this is a lot of zucchini. Alright, there we go. Let's put all that in. And it's just one. Now I'm going to stop here and do my first layer of some seasoning. So I'm going to put some salt. There you go. And I don't measure, just going to put some salt. And then I'm going to put some pepper. Got to get my little brace that wants to come off. I just, you know, like I say, I don't measure it. I just do it. I love pepper on squash. I normally don't even hardly like pepper, which is crazy. I love it on squash. Okay, here we go. I'm also going to add a little bit of this hot shot, which is black pepper mixed with red cayenne pepper. Have a little bite that way. Okay, so then we are now going to cut our squash and add that in. Also, the zucchini, the squash, everything, it's already been pre-washed because I just washed it before I started. What time is it anyway? Okay, I'm doing pretty good. It's not 11:30 yet. Then these I'm just going to cut in rounds. And I like to do it a little thicker like that because it gives it a little more body. But if you would rather do it real thin, my mom always did it real thin. You can do it real thin. It just stays together a little bit better this way. Does take a little bit longer to cook, or if you like to retain some of the crispness of it, you know, you just cook it less. You can cook squash down to absolute softness, or you can keep some of the texture, whatever you like to do. It's good either way. I like it either way. If it's totally soft, or if it's got some bite left to it, I like it both ways, honestly. So, however you cook it, squash, I like it. Okay, there's that one. One more. I usually do a little more squash than I do carrot and zucchini. You don't have to do it that way, but my mix is usually a little squash heavy. So I got 3 squash, and a part of that too is because the zucchini is so huge. You don't usually ever need more than 1 zucchini. So this is 3 squash. I don't know if you can see this, but that squash has a little tiny touch of green left in here. If you find squash like that, that's the best squash ever. It's tender, it's fresh, it's like younger, it's not some old dried out squash. Okay, there we go. There is our vegetable mix. Right there. So then I'm going to add another layer of seasoning. So I'm going to put some more salt. And then I'm going to add some pepper. This is just regular black pepper. Like I say, I love pepper on squash. I almost can't get too much pepper on it for me. At least for that. And I don't hardly even like pepper on anything else. So strange. Steak. I like pepper on steak. There's just only a few things I even like pepper on. It's so weird. Because this is the hot shot, the one with a little bit of spicy pepper. Then I'm going to cover that. I'm going to mix it and I'm going to cover it and let it simmer. And that's all I'm going to make for now. So we have half an hour before that rice is done. I'm going to go do my makeup real quick. Half an hour before that's done, we're going to let all this simmer and sizzle. And let me show you. Plug my phone. This is the cake. Yeah, you see I taste tested it. It's really, really good. This is probably the best chocolate cake I have ever tried. It has the texture of a box cake mix, but is not a box cake mix. Because I actually love the texture of box cake mix. But it's artificial flavored, and I don't really like that. And I've always been on a search to find a cake that actually tasted as good as the box cake mix of chocolate. And I think I may have a winner. I'll have to taste it again today. Give it judgment number 2, but I think we have a winner. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go. Like I said, I'm going to go do my makeup. And so I will see you again shortly and try some of these recipes. Talk to you later. Bye.